Hey, today I want to talk to you about just developing land, subdividing land, deed restrictions, and other things. I have a lot of people that come to me with these questions. I served on my planning board for many years, and I also have a few subdivisions right now, and I'm very involved in and knowledgeable about the subdividing of land and values associated with that and restrictions. So I was just having a conversation the other day with my friend Jen, who knows somebody who has a bunch of land and wants to cut off a couple of lots and give them to his family members. So this is a pretty common thing that people want to do, and he wants to cut off so many lots. There are restrictions for dividing land and how often you can divide it without physically having to go to your planning department or planning board and go through the planning process, which is can be definitely it's time consuming, but it can also be expensive. And I think a lot of people aren't aware that, you know, if you buy a property with a bunch of land and you have that plan, it is expensive and time consuming to go forth with subdividing. I had somebody call me, she's probably watching this video right now, call me last week, or we talked last weekend, and just the process of, you know, I forget how much land exactly she's got, but it's in a good zone where you can have high density, so the lot sizes are pretty small, and she's got enough land to be able to do something with. But just the proposal process and the process for the surveyors, so you have to hire surveyors, and the planning department process is $60,000 up front. And when you look at that number, and then you look at how many lots could you potentially get out of there, it's usually less than what you think. And you know, the cost per lot, sometimes it's just not worth it putting it through a subdivision process. It's worth it just selling the parcel. Now, I have some people that they'd like to sell large chunks of land, but they don't want anybody developing it. And you can do that. You can actually impose restrictions on a deed. So if you have a deed to property, you can add restrictions to it, and those restrictions run with the deed, so for in perpetuity. I'm sure there is a way to get deed restrictions removed. I'm sure it would be very expensive and a large legal process to do so. Some things to keep in mind. Deed restrictions that I've seen are things like no mobile homes on this land, or no chickens, no barnyard animals. Those are pretty common in subdivisions. Other restrictions I've seen, I just sold a house in Stratford, or I was involved in the sale of a house in Stratford that was on a really large parcel, and there was a restriction that it could never be subdivided. So they were never able to really get the full value of the land, or the full potential value of the land, because if there's a restriction on the land, it certainly will devalue it. So if you have a large parcel of land and you want to sell it, but you never want anybody to build anything on it, you're not going to get that much money for it. You're probably more likely, it'd probably be a better idea to donate it to a land trust or something like that. But if you are, consult an attorney, make sure any restrictions, my cat's coming to visit me, are very clear and concise, and they don't leave a lot of room for people to interpret what it means. Definitely consult an attorney, but you can certainly do that, and just remember that it will affect the value of your land. I work with a lot of developers and a lot of builders. We're always looking for new projects and evaluating things. I'm pretty good at doing that, and so it's kind of a really fun thing for me to do. If you've got questions about, here's my cat, your land, subdividing it, or if there are restrictions on your deed, or if you are thinking about deed restrictions, send me a message. I'm happy to talk to you more about it. It's one of my favorite things to talk about. You can message me right here on Facebook Live if that's what you are watching me on, or you can text me or call me 207-251-9535. I'm here having a snow day. You guys have a great day, and I will talk to you again tomorrow.